everybody.
Hi, guys. Well, from Salt Lake City, Utah,
It's Thank God I'm Atheist.
the podcast.
I'm Frank.
And I'm Dan.
And I'm sad.
Oh, it's been a difficult week.
Damn.
You guys.
I don't know what to say, Dan.
It's fine.
I'm just... I'm numb.
Things happened. I don't know if you guys were aware there was an election here in the United States.
Oh, that's not what I was talking about at all.
Oh, I know. Yeah, because you dropped your favorite plate and it broke.
I'll never get it back.
Guys,
It was a one of a kind.
we got 4 years of fun ahead of us, kids. We'll be talking about that stuff coming up towards the end of our show. Hopefully, there's a lot to talk about. We'll be processing. I think
There's too much to talk about.
it may just be 20 minutes of Frank and me crying. We'll see. We'll see.
Blubber, 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 blubber.
Doesn't seem like us. Doesn't seem like where we would go.
I think we'll pull something out.
Hopefully, yes, it won't be just misery.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's
Well,
stuff.
I've got the story of a dead fetus.
Oh, great. Yeah, throw that in. Let's do it. I'm on board.
I mean, here's one to cheer you up.
Sure.
Story of a dead fetus.
Do it.
Because, we lefties, we love dead fetuses.
Well, we do. We do.
I mean, it's really our the whole goal of the whole progressive movement is just to have as many dead fetuses as possible.
Right.
And here's one Catholic priest who I think probably believes that. I wouldn't have any problem with that statement. A priest by the name of Frank Pavone, or probably Pavone, maybe even, who is the head of an anti-abortion group called Priests for Life.
Okay.
And he put a video out before the election,
Right.
arguing for the election of Donald Trump. Well done, Father Pavone.
You did it.
You did it. But in which he placed a dead fetus, an aborted fetus,
Yeah.
on an altar,
Right.
and did like a little service and a little ceremony.
Oh dear.
Over the dead.
Oh God.
Curled.
It's so gross.
Fetus.
That's just so gross.
And of course, there was outcry because you don't do this.
Because people don't like to see a dead fetus just displayed in a video
used for political reasons.
as a prop.
Yeah.
Dead fetuses are not good props.
Yeah. I think it's problematic. Anyway, he says, in his defense, though, Dan.
Oh, yeah.
He says, quote, "I wasn't there playing catch with the baby's body.
Oh my God!
I wasn't taunting the baby's body. I was honoring the baby's body, which is what we do all the time.
We honor baby bodies.
Yes. We're making abortions real to people, and we're making reparation."
Oh my God!
This is what he says.
I wasn't playing catch with it.
No!
I wasn't.
So it's fine.
Throwing it to my dog and having him fetch it. I wasn't using it as a bowling ball.
Yeah, and get this, Dan.
Yeah.
Here's a tidbit for you. Pavone is a member of the Donald Trump's faith advisory team.
Of course he is.
So
that's perfect for Trump.
Yeah, this is good stuff. Yeah, it's incendiary.
100% tone deafness. That is exactly that is Trump's wheelhouse right there. I'm sure. I saw a thing about the video. I didn't see any of the reaction, but I'm sure that his own, Catholics, I'm sure were horrified by this. This isn't just outrage from lefties. This is I'm guessing everybody was horrified by this.
No, everyone.
Because it's horrifying.
Yeah. Yep. He insists.
I mean, this thing, if you guys, you can go and look it up on Facebook or on the internet or whatever, but
I watched part of it.
It's this black and blue little fetus thing. Yeah. It's disgusting.
Yeah. He says that the fetus was treated with proper respect. He got his hands on the fetus from a Protestant pastor.
Oh, you got to be careful about wording on that one. Got his hands on the fetus just sounds wrong.
Well, he's somehow the fetus.
Tone deafness. It's just that tone deafness.
No child is too young for these men.
Oh God! It's so true.
But anyway, a Protestant pastor who got it from a local pathologist.
They're passing this thing around?
Passing it around because I guess what Priests for Life is, they have a history of like doing proper burials, quote unquote proper burials for the fetuses.
Right.
And so it was entrusted, to him to do that.
Do we know how far along in the gestational cycle this fetus was?
We don't know.
It looked to me like a beginning of third trimester or something, because it was pretty well formed.
You think this was one that was, what was the terminology? Scraped out? What was it?
Oh, yeah, I don't know.
Yanked out. Yeah. Anyway, people sort of questioned Pavone on why, did you, was the mother aware that you're using this fetus?
Right.
Her fetus? Really? And he says, I don't have control over the baby or what was done, he said. Right. He says that there was no possibility of getting permission from the mother because, quote, the mother had killed the baby.
Yeah.
So she's not going to be interested in the least in giving permission. I think it's silly for people to be making these distinctions. The dishonor, the sacrilege, the mistreatment, the abuse, the manipulation, that's all on the shoulders of the abortion industry. And my point in making this video, on the shoulders of Hillary Clinton and the Democratic Party and those who support abortion in our political world. They're the ones who are mistreating and abusing and degrading these babies. Not him.
No, not at all. I only use the already degraded and abused fetus.
Yeah.
And
degrade it more.
And then I degrade it.
Right.
I wait until it's pre-degraded.
What? It's not my fault that it was degraded.
It's too late. It's already been degraded. So I use it as a degraded. I'm not using an undegraded fetus.
No. And then he says, the fact that these people are complaining makes me laugh and wonder what planet they're living on. Okay, so we don't judge the homosexuals, but we're sure to judge the pro-life priest. Pounce right on them.
Yeah. Fucking queers always trotting out their babies. What about them? They're doing that all the time.
Fucking homos?
I want to know
why can't I be treated like a homo?
What's the gay equivalent?
They're treated so well.
What's the gay equivalent of displaying a fetus?
You don't want to know.
I really don't, actually. It's a bad idea. I withdraw the question.
That's a very personal question, Dan.
Yeah, well, I definitely don't want to know yours. That's for sure. I'm going to stick with Catholicism. There's a lot. I got a couple of Catholic things happening in the world today, but this one's an interesting one. The Vatican is furious.
Oh no!
With Gina, with the Chinese.
Is that the new official pronunciation?
I think we have to now. I think that's
Trump's America.
I think in Trump's America you have to pronounce it Gina. I like Gina. So apparently now China is not a huge fan of how you say in English religions.
Oh no, that's true. Yeah,
they don't like them. They So there are Catholics in China, but it's a very small and kind of underground thing that they got going on in China. So recently, a Chinese priest, a Catholic priest, made an announcement.
Oh, okay.
He's a bishop now.
Oh.
Of course, he didn't tell the Vatican. The Vatican had nothing to do with this.
Oh!
He just walked out in some new robes with a new scepter thing, and
He's a self-appointed bishop.
just went, I bishoped myself. I think maybe So
Does he have access to the rest of the church? Does the rest of the church have access to him?
I think that it's enough separated and removed that he was just like, we need, maybe, I don't know, maybe he's been petitioning for a bishop. Maybe he's been trying to secretly run for bishop.
How did he become a priest?
I feel like he was actually
Was he self-appointed?
no, I think the Vatican actually did participate in his.
So he knows that there's
Frocking.
a process.
Mm-hmm. He's just done with it.
Wow. So he frocked himself.
I think, and I think part of this is because
Again.
because the Holy See, because the Vatican has diplomatic ties to China.
They do?
Yeah.
Oh.
And so they haven't been authorizing any new there's tensions, but I think they're trying to
Oh, wow.
they're trying to navigate the tensions with the Chinese government.
Yeah.
And so they weren't appointing any bishops or anything.
Mm.
And again, apparently this guy thought there needed to be one. So Reverend Dong Guanha
Took matters into his own hands.
just went, hey, I'm a bishop now. And also, any of you other priests that need to bishopify, I'll do that for you. Go ahead. Let's just...
Rogue.
He's gone rogue. He has gone rogue.
Wow, good on him.
Yeah.
Woo, I love it.
So apparently there is a bishop who is recognized by the Vatican.
Okay.
But now there's a rogue one. Wow. I kind of want that to be a show, like a series.
Well, HBO
Rogue bishop. He's got a motorcycle driving through the Chinese countryside.
You've seen the previews for Young Pope, right?
Uh-huh.
That looks fun.
Yeah.
Well, it's like a weird, sick. Does it seem mildly sexy? Is there something sexy going on? I can't tell.
Only if you're into Jude Law.
Well, I am. So I want there to be.
Boom.
But then there's the old nun.
Old nun.
I hope that doesn't turn into what I think it might turn into.
All right, what else you got?
Well, I have a Gina story as well.
Oh, cool.
But I'm not going to do it. I'm going to save it.
Oh, okay.
I had a perfect, clearly segue to it, but I have a really quick one that I just want to do right now.
Just get it out there.
Michelle Bachmann.
Oh, yes.
Her reaction and explanation for sort of Donald Trump's win.
Oh.
It's pretty choice. It includes a little bit of an audio clip.
Okay.
So what's important here, listeners, is that she and David Barton, the great historian, David Barton,
the fake historian who is the one who has convinced the American right wing that all of our founding fathers were rabid Christians who were creating a Christian society and all that.
He's
sort
the
of
one
thing.
that has sort of the degrees problem, right?
Yeah. Well, yeah. Oh, he's got
claims
plenty
to be
of
a doctor.
He's got plenty of degrees. Just none of them valid, but
or from real places,
right?
Well, the places exist. They're just not.
They're just not accredited universities or anything.
So, anyways, so they're standing in front of a video screen that has a chart up that shows sort of how the two candidates were doing sort of over time in sort of in the by hour, right, on election night.
Okay.
And so you see the line for Hillary Clinton that starts up high, and Donald Trump starts low.
Yeah.
And they go forward, and then they cross.
Right.
They make a little X, and then Donald Trump is up and Hillary Clinton's down. And so Michelle Bachmann is explaining to us what's happening.
Right there. At 7:30 at night, we went on the air, but we have a prayer room here. Yeah. We had people all across the United States joining with our prayer room here in Dallas in prayer. And look what happened. This was the moment when the whole race broke, when prayer began, the church came out. And then we see a 30-point swing here, a 30-point swing here, and now we see the swing to 95% chance of winning Trump, 5% chance of winning Clinton. It's phenomenal. This graphic that was produced by the New York Times should tell believers and pastors the power of prayer, the power of action. And here it is, a graphic. The night isn't even over. The decision hasn't even been fully made yet about the presidency. And already we know that the glory goes to the God Almighty, the God of the universe, the sovereign Lord. He is the one who did this for us. He did because his people got on their knees and cried out to Holy God and said, we can't go down this road anymore. Father, we ask you for your mercy. And this is the proof positive of what the Lord did. The Lord did this.
The Lord did it. It was the Lord.
The Lord fucked with our elections.
Oh, praise Jesus.
So
yeah.
She's, I mean, first of all, Michelle Bachmann has one of those voices, Dan.
Oh, God. It's...
that I find just so grating.
That you inflicted on all of our listeners just now. That's sorry about that, guys. Apparently Frank hates you. She makes you listen to her voice. But yeah, she's...
Yeah, well, but you have to listen to the voice in order to hear this awful thing. And this whole, like, this is it, guys. Like, this is the America that we're going to have to really be dealing with right now and hearing a lot from, and bracing ourselves for, I guess, is just more of this kind of speech. This notion that we are God's sort of choice country, right? We are God's country.
The God of the universe, the sovereign
States
Lord.
Of America has blessed this country.
Yeah.
Or God blessed this country and created it, and so that it could be a beacon of hope and all this kind of crap that they always say about it, right? And yet he has to meddle with our elections.
Right.
We have to set forth democracy as his blessed and chosen system for the modern era, and he has to come in and
he's like, nope, they're doing it wrong. They're getting it wrong.
Yeah. Overturn the will of the people.
What's amazing is
he does it through election night.
But he does it as soon as they start praying.
Oh, yeah, he wouldn't have done it otherwise.
No. He would have let it happen. He was like, you guys, you bitches don't start praying at me. I'm going to let this happen. I will let her win. Don't tempt me. Yeah. Oh, good. They're praying. Okay.
Oh,
let me just twist this here.
Yeah.
I'll just flip it.
Wait. Are there enough prayers? Are there enough?
15.
Yeah, okay.
799 and 800. That's the number. We're flipping it. 800 prayers.
The will of these few people who were praying.
On election night, after all the ballots are already in, now I'll flip it.
Yeah. And not only does he have to flip, it for Fox News.
Yeah.
And that godless CNN. But he has to somehow get MSNBC and PBS on board too.
Well, yeah.
I don't know how the fuck he did it. I just don't know, Dan.
Our God is an awesome God.
Their God.
Their God is an awesome God.
An asshole God.
Well, I have some terrible news.
No.
Terrible news for the 10 Commandments. Good news for us, though. Remember how I told y'all about Oklahoma and State Question 790?
Yeah.
Of Oklahoma.
Yes.
Which is an amendment to the Constitution.
Yeah, it was
that was going to make it hopefully pave the way for them to put back up the 10 Commandments.
You're speaking in such a way. Wait, what?
It went down.
No.
Oklahomans said no.
What?
Yeah. I think Dan, they may have actually caught on to the fact that this is just a losing battle that costs them a shit ton of money.
What up is down, what down is up. Right. Everything's just wrong and inside out.
Did they just word it badly and nobody knew what they were voting for?
Trump's president and this thing failed? Like, nothing is making sense, Dan.
I know.
Oklahoma votes for this.
Oklahoma definitely votes for this.
See, you know what the deal is, Dan.
Yeah.
God was so was so interested in the presidential that he let this one fail. All those people, the prayers weren't coming in.
Yeah, exactly. They weren't praying enough for this one.
Rate.
He didn't let this fail. He flipped it on them on purpose. He didn't get enough prayers.
Yeah.
And he just flipped it.
He was like,
the
"Fuck
other way.
you, assholes! You're gonna just be praying about this election thing."
Now you'll never know what the commandments were supposed to be. Now none of you will know. It's not anywhere else. The only place you see it is on monuments engraved in stone out in front of
or in that
government
book
buildings.
That's fucking everywhere.
But wait, there's more. Not only did Oklahoma turn that down, but a New Mexico ruling. So in a place called Bloomfield, New Mexico, the city council voted to allow a monument. It was then litigated by the ACLU, and the ACLU won.
Okay.
Then it was appealed, and just recently the appeal failed, and so that's not going to happen.
What?
It is a bad day for the Ten Commandments being on the
I'm thoroughly
government property.
I'm so confused. This is not the way this was supposed to go, Dan.
I know.
I was fine with throwing Oklahoma away for good.
Yeah. So,
oh my God.
Apparently, Oklahomans and New Mexicans will never know what the Ten Commandments are going to be.
All right. Well, I promised a story on China.
Yeah.
Apparently, there's this area in China that pops up from time to time.
Cool. Pronounce it for me.
Zhejiang, I think is how I've settled in on saying it.
Okay.
This is the one. This is called. It's sometimes called the Jerusalem of the East.
Oh, good.
Because of its large Christian population.
Not because of a Jewish population?
No.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
Great. Let's do this.
Let's just stick with it, man. We're fine. It sort of is the center of Christianity in China.
Right.
And China being China, of course, the provincial government or whatever, has been bothered by the fact that there are so many Christians in the area.
Right.
And they're very concerned. They don't like Christianity.
Yeah.
And they don't want it really in their country. And you can't blame them, for not liking it. But, kind of some dick moves here from time to time. This one's kind of funny if you ask me. They are actively setting up sort of child-friendly activities when they know the Christians are meeting for church to lure the children away. Lure them away from the church.
Yes.
So that they nag
like the
their
Pied Piper. We will lure you away.
What's the island in Pinocchio?
Oh, yeah.
Treasure. Was that Treasure? No, that's not Treasure Island.
No.
What is that? That's
I don't know.
They go to some island and the kids get lured away. All the bad kids.
Right.
Yeah.
And they smoke.
They smoke and they get turned into donkeys.
They
right?
become donkeys, which
they make
as a kid
they're making asses out of themselves.
If it wasn't scary, did you just get that?
No, I always knew that.
Yeah. No, as a kid, if it hadn't been presented quite so scary, I'd be like, turn into a donkey. That sounds great. That'd be fun. I want to try that for a minute. Sure.
Yeah, so there's that. And there's apparently things are not going to be getting better for Christians in Zhejiang.
Oh, dear.
This is only the first of official activities to kind of try to shut down the influence that Christianity has had in the past.
Pleasure Island.
Pleasure Island. Close to treasure.
Was our Pinocchio.
It rhymes.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah. Huh.
Sounds sexier, though.
Pleasure Island.
I kind of really want to go there.
Well, what was the name of the 1980s TV show? The plane.
That's Fantasy Island.
That's Fantasy Island. Man, there's all these islands.
Yeah.
Wow.
There should be a cruise
What's
that goes
the
from one to the
obsession?
other.
What is the obsession with islands?
You can disconnect. It's not connected.
Anyway, Beijing is calling for a new set of rules that are going to be coming out next year. It's going to be a new set of regulations on religious affairs officially coming down. So there's going to be lots of good news. I will say I do get a lot of these woe is me Christianity in China stories from ChristianToday.com. So these stories are very colored in woe and whatnot.
A grain of salt is useful.
Is needed, but I don't doubt that the Chinese government is actively working against Christian influences in their country.
Right.
And
of course they are.
I half applaud it.
Right.
Because I just don't know what to do with what seems like it should be good news. But it's bad news. And once you think about it, it's bad.
Yeah.
But on the surface, it's like,
just feels...
I wish I could live there.
Why
an atheist paradise?
Why wouldn't I just wish that there had been someone luring me away from church when I was a kid.
Yeah, some official government activity.
Like super fun. Like, hey, it's super fun time over here.
Bounce houses everywhere.
I'm like, yes.
More bounce houses than you could ever jump on in your life.
Goodbye, Mom and Dad. I'll see you after church. I'm going to fun place.
Oh my God.
I'm going to head back to the Vatican.
No.
Where do you know that they keep a pope there? I'm going to go to China and appoint myself pope.
Apparently it's allowed.
Do that there.
Yeah.
Pope Frank has so like everybody's seen him like kind of be like he dips his toe into progressive policy thought a lot of the time, it's just been so far. It like
More
at first
we gesture toward
right, and we all thought that he was going to be or at least like it seemed like he was going to be like
the great reformer,
the big liberal reformer, and then it was just like, oh, he's not testing the waters. He's testing the waters not to do anything. Apparently just out of curiosity. He's just curious where the waters are. Huh. Yeah, you guys hate the gays. Yeah, we did, or you guys love the gays. We're still going to hate him, though.
He did get himself some good press, though.
Yeah.
At the beginning.
I'll tell you this. He was talking on a plane, and someone was saying something. Somebody asked him something, and he was basically he started talking about women as priests.
Yeah.
And he said, we'll never have women as priests.
Oh.
And a reporter was like,
thanks, Popey.
A reporter was like never, ever, ever in a million, evers. And he said, oh, no, yeah. He said, if we read carefully the declaration by St. John Paul II, yes. I'm like, oh, okay.
Oh.
So, yeah. No women.
Never.
New women. Women are, apparently, the final word was given by St. Pope John Paul II.
Well, this is,
and that's it.
I mean, I think the Pope has spoken, the American people have spoken. Women, we don't want women as leaders.
Right.
We don't want women heading up things.
Yeah,
and,
ladies, will you just buy in, please? We've all just basically declared it, apparently.
This little experiment has failed.
Yeah, it's cute that y'all want to lead.
Oh, and every once in a while, we'll let you lead something.
Yeah, we find it adorable.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Maybe we'll let you lead a tech company from time to time. We'll let you head up.
It doesn't seem like a good idea. We shouldn't do that.
eBay still exists.
I went back to
Whitman,
the Meganackle, which is what we call the LDS Conference Center across the street from the Mormon Temple here in Salt Lake City.
Right.
It's this huge You know,
huge.
It's a huge. It's huge. It's a huge
Get
building.
Your pronunciations correctly.
Right. Exactly. Sorry, Donald. And it's this huge building, and it's got room for 25,000 people
like that,
to sit in and whatever. Anyway, there's one part of it where it's got photographs of the church leadership, and it's this huge wall of men in black suits with ties, and then there's this tiny little section where there's these three women who are the presidency of the of what's called the Relief Society, which is the women's organization, and they're all in like pastels.
Yeah,
it's like dark. Yay, Easter! Dark.
Right.
It's very funny because they're girls.
Yeah, they have to wear bright colors.
Right.
Otherwise, we might get confused.
Right. If they were wearing black, I might accidentally.
They were men.
I might actually accidentally take them seriously or something.
Yeah, being women in a position of supposed authority.
Right. Yeah. We.
You want to make sure that they understand that.
They're there to be fun.
Let's color code our leadership.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Real leaders,
black.
In a serious dark, maudlin sort of thing.
Yeah.
Fake leaders, yay!
Lots of color.
Muppet colors.
Yeah.
That's how that works.
No. It's too bad.
There's work to be done, kids. That's
There
what we're
is.
getting at.
Yeah.
If you have any suggestions as to other ways that we can make sure that women don't get any leadership roles, you can write into us, podcast at thankgodimatheist.com.
Or you can call and leave us a voicemail message. The telephone number is 424-666-8442.
Go to the Facebook page, facebook.com/TGIAtheist, and write Mackenzie a nice note, because I'm sure she's upset too.
And while you're there, search for the TGIA Members Only Lounge and request to join it.
Join
up, and it's a closed group, but we'll let you in.
Yes, indeedy.
Okay, Dan.
Yeah.
We
You know what we need? You know what we need, Frank?
What?
We need a voice of reason in this time of distrust
I think that's...
and of
yes,
tumult and upset.
Yes.
We need someone to speak to us reasonably, to help us to guide us through this time,
help us make sense of what we're feeling,
to call for understanding.
Yeah.
I think that voice necessarily must be Glenn Beck.
Of course it is.
Last night, I heard so many comparisons of Donald Trump to Hitler. And we, on the right, must not dismiss their fear. For instance, people who are saying, people are going to be scooped up in the middle of the night, blah, 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 blah. You may not believe that. You may say that'll never happen. But instead of saying, oh, stop it, he's not going to ban all Muslims, stop it. That's a real fear. Remember the fears that you had under Barack Obama. They could tell you a million times it wasn't going to happen, that he wasn't going to suspend the election, but a lot of people still had that fear and wouldn't let go of it. And every time they said, oh, please, that's ridiculous, what happened? Did you feel better? We have to say, look, I don't believe he's going to scoop up Muslims. I don't think that's going to happen. He's not going to ban all Muslims. But let me tell you something. If he does, I'm on your side. I'm on your side. I will stand against anyone who does anything against a man because of their religious beliefs. I'm for the Constitution. Don't worry about it. And if we cross that bridge, we're going to cross that bridge together. Take that attitude instead of dismissing their fears, because many on the left are truly afraid today. They need reassurance from reasonable people on the right.
It's, lately, every time we play a Glenn Beck clip, I get really uncomfortable. I'm fine when he says crazy.
Yeah.
When he starts spouting nutball stuff,
yeah,
that's fine by me.
But what happens
But when he says the most reasonable thing I've heard since the election on either side of the thing
in the punditry class,
I start to question: have I gone insane?
No.
Am I just now on the crazy wavelength?
So you have to understand, Dan, and listeners at home, or wherever you are, that there is still crazy in his eyes. When you look at this man, you can still tell he's crazy. He just happens to be, for a moment, right where we would want him to be. But that is a weird place.
It's weird.
It's weird to hear such a reasonable thing coming out of crazy.
He's calling for exactly the right thing.
Yeah, he's all over the map right now. He's in support of Black Lives Matter.
Yeah,
right now.
He had a thing where he came out and said something about how like Barack Obama like has taught him a lot, and he's actually changed a lot of his views about things. And what's happening?
Yeah, he was on the media, interviewed him. As like and Bob Garfield was like, I mean, it was basically, we think you're crazy, right? I mean, like you have this history of like insanity, and he's just like right there, just defending himself in the most reasonable way. I think he might be back on his meds. I think the meds that he's been off of for like 15 years, somebody convinced him to go back on, and all of a sudden he's just like a reasonable human being.
It's crazy. Either that or he's building up to something big.
Something good.
He's going to be
I can't wait.
He's going to suddenly come out as like, I am Dragon Rider McGee, and I am starting a new cult. Yeah. We all believe in the Thetans. I don't know. I'm uncomfortable.
He's a peach, isn't he?
I'm uncomfortable. It's been a weird week, and we understandably didn't get a heck of a lot of people writing into us or calling into us or whatever. But we got a little bit. Why don't you play the voicemail?
Okay. This is Adam calling, and he has a question sort of about elections and how they're run in the United States a little bit. So
Great.
let's hear what he has to say.
Hey, Frank and Dan, this is Adam from Kansas City. I just got done voting. My voting center was in a public building. You know, it's supposed to be in a public building like mine was a city hall. It could be a library. But I know a lot of people also have voting centers in places of worship, such as churches. Are you aware, is that a specific to Christianity, or do they happen at temples? Do they happen at the Satanic Temple? Just curious your thoughts. Love the show. Thanks. Bye.
Oh, wouldn't it be great if they had it at the Satanic Temple?
Well, but first is, I think it's interesting, is in Adam's voice, there's still a sense of hope. There's still sort of this innocence.
Oh, Adam. Apparently Frank thinks you're so naive.
Well, no, but I just voted, and I have this kind of just this question that's kind of about like, how this works. And it's great. And the question is actually, I think synagogues will host elections, voting rather.
Yeah, there have been mosques. I even read a story about a mosque that no longer is being used as a polling station because everybody was like, I don't trust them goddamn Muslims.
Yeah. And, I mean, it's kind of a tradition in this country to use churches. I mean, they're scattered about throughout our cities in areas where there may not be a public, building.
Right.
I would think there would always be some kind of elementary school nearby, personally.
Maybe. Here's the thing, though. I believe that the rule is that if a church is used as a polling station, or if a religious edifice is used as a polling station, they have to cover up
the crosses,
iconography or symbols or whatever
that might be in the room that they're using.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. I mean that. Yeah. I don't have that big of a problem with them being used.
It's just space. I mean, it does feel a little.
I'm always awkward walking into an LDS chapel.
Right.
So
I always want to do something bad when I walk into a church.
Yeah.
I don't, but I always want to do something bad.
I just don't like being on their turf. ever.
Yeah.
Like, I just, ugh.
I kind of do like being on their turf. Just yesterday I was walking through the Salt Lake Mormon Temple grounds because it's a pretty grounds and it was a pretty day.
It's lovely, yeah.
And I was listening to atheist podcasts as I did it, which I just get a kick out of.
Okay.
I get a kick out of listening.
Were you walking along Main Street, or did you walk
I was
through
just in the temple grounds.
Square?
I was just walking in. I stopped into the tabernacle and listened to the organ being played for a while. And,
Oh, lovely.
yeah.
Huh. Look at you, Dan.
I do it. It's a thing I do.
Yeah.
When I want to reflect.
Yeah, but boy.
And this has been a week of reflection, let me tell you what.
Yeah.
I want to make people aware of something. We got an email from Recovering from Religion. Which is an organization that I'm very pleased with. I think that they do good work, and they're doing a fundraiser, an extravaganza. On November 20th of this year.
Oh, okay. Well,
because it would be silly of them to make an announcement about next year this soon. That just seems ridiculous.
Well, it sounds like they're right on it.
Yeah,
they're running it the right way, Dan.
So here's what they're doing on Sunday, November 20th. They're hosting what they call Thanks for Giving. It's a live streaming fundraising thing. Live interviews will feature Shelley Segal, Pete Boghossian, Graydon Square, David Fitzgerald, and a bunch of names. You probably know them, you guys. I don't know some of these names, but I know some of them. Anyway, many more activists from the secular community. They'll be auctioning off valuable prizes. They'll be holding drawings for books and convention admissions. And you, the audience, will be able to interact with event hosts and guests via a running comment section on their social media feeds on Facebook and Twitter. So it sounds like a lot of fun.
Yeah.
They are a 100% volunteer organization. They don't have membership dues, and they don't have conventions to provide a revenue stream.
Wow.
So they need support. They need contributions.
Well, that sounds like a worthy cause.
Yeah.
How can I tune in, Dan?
What you do, go to you RSVP to their Thanks for Giving Facebook event. Okay. So go to Facebook and just type in thanks for giving, and that should get you to the place that you need to be, and hopefully you'll get to be a part of it, participate, have fun.
Yeah, sounds great.
Yeah,
awesome.
thought we'd do that. Get the word out on that. We got an email from Luke. Hi, Frank and Dan. It's Luke.
Luke.
A relatively new listener from Connecticut. Sending this just after midnight on Election Day. Things aren't looking good for logic and freedom right now.
I feel you, Luke.
In fact, the stock market dropped lower than it did from 9/11. I'm kind of nervous about where this is going to take us, not only as a country, but also the effect it will have on the world. As much as I hope I will wake up tomorrow and all of this will have resolved itself. Oh, it resolved itself, Luke. Not in the way you might have hoped.
Oh, poor Luke.
He says, I doubt it will. Anyway, I thank you guys for your podcast, and I hope Der Fuhrer, our new president, doesn't force us into hiding.
Dear leader.
Yeah. Well, I think that here's the commitment I will make to you guys. I will not go into hiding.
No?
Nope. If they're rounding folks up, I'm on that train, I guess.
You know what, Dan? It
What?
might be time for us to start at the beginning of the show, being Dan Beecher and Frank Feldman.
We could do that. I'm not hiding. I'm not hiding anything.
But just as, just an extra added statement of
who we are.
Of who we are.
You know what? Here's an interesting fact.
What?
You and I, when we started this show, made the conscious decision to be Frank and Dan, not Frank Feldman and Dan Beecher, because and part of that calculus was we were a little worried about having our names out there.
Yeah. The other part was we wanted it to seem friendly and accessible.
Right. And it was,
we just wanted to be Frank and Dan.
Right.
But at the end of the day...
At the end of the day, yeah. I'm not hiding from jack shit. That's what I'm going to say.
Thank you, Luke.
So, yeah, Luke. Don't hide.
We don't want to hide.
Don't hide.
So we're not going to.
Yeah.
All right. Do we have more email?
That's it.
Okay, well, we have people to thank on Patreon.
Yes, we do.
I would like to... we have a new member of the faithful, Lord Trentonian. I'll go that far with the name. Lord Trentonian.
Wait. There's more?
Well, there's a last name, I assume.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. I'm just assuming.
Okay.
And then we have a new beatified listener, Eric. Thank you.
Oh, thank you.
And,
your beatification is glorious.
We have a new savior, Dan.
We have a new savior. Oh, my.
James.
In nomine Patri et Filii et Spiritus Sancti. Amen.
So we have to bid farewell to Judy. Thank you, Judy. Judy's still a donor.
Right. And James could drop out, and Judy could pop
James,
right back
James
up.
James is in.
James is our newest
with a very
savior.
generous pledge. And so thank you,
All
James.
right. We'll see how long
savior.
James can be savior of the world. our Lord and Savior. Although Lord was the other guy. So I guess he's just our savior.
Yeah.
There you go. The other guy sort of got in on a technicality.
He did get in on a little technicality there.
Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, if you would like to be counted among the ranks of the sainted,
and help us get even closer to our goal,
right?
We're getting close. We're actually really close at this point.
We just need that last push. We just need just a few more. You can go to Facebook, or not Facebook. Don't go to that. You do go to that, but go to thankgodimatheist.com / thankgodimatheist.com. Find the little button. There's a little Patreon
support tab
on the right side of the screen.
You can click on that. Takes you right to the Patreon page, and you can select, what level you want to give at, and there's rewards associated with each level.
Yeah,
and it's greatly appreciated, and it means a lot.
It's
and
bigly appreciated.
It really helps us do the show. Dan!
Yes, sir.
Is this the crying session?
I'm not going to cry. You can't make me cry.
You promised crying, Dan.
You can't make me cry. I won't do it. No, this is the time. Now is the time when we cathart. I think catharsis is necessary.
Verb? Can one cathart?
I've catharted all over the place this whole week. I've needed it.
Yeah, I catharted my pants that night. Let me tell you.
Okay, so some of our listeners are happy that Trump is president. I wouldn't say
probably a minority.
A minority of
and
listeners.
So a lot of this isn't for you guys. But there is a message at the end here that you may be interested in.
Right. And as Glenn Beck would tell us, as our new leader, Glenn Beck will say, for those of you who are happy, it's time for all of us to come together, and for our, don't let's nobody dismiss anybody's fears or whatever. There are real fears out there, and here's the thing: I'm not that fearful of a Trump presidency, in part because the institutions that Trump has now injected himself into, are pretty solid.
Yeah. But the presidency is sort of at its most solid point in history.
That's true.
Barack Obama continued on with George W. Bush's trend, something that he actually criticized George W. Bush of when he was running for president, the use of executive order in order to sort of bypass the process of getting legislation through Congress.
Right.
And Barack Obama came in after having criticized him and just went fucking nuts.
Well, Barack Obama couldn't get anything done.
Well, granted.
No, because he had this entirely obstructionist and completely unreasonable legislature.
He has during his time expanded the presidency. He has made it more powerful. The imperial presidency, right? And so now the man who is inheriting Barack Obama's most powerful presidency ever is the one who
will absolutely abuse the shit out of it.
Has a lot of potential to abuse the shit out of it. Yeah.
In part because
and that's the fears that that's the crux of it for me. That's what has me a little alarmed.
Right.
Because when you start thinking through the things that Obama achieved without legislation, you go, oh, well, that's like all the progress of the last 8 years. Mm-hmm. And if he was able to actually get that to be, achieve progress that way, like what could Trump do with the same authority?
What regression could be achieved?
And I heard a lot of things, like I was listening to some people talk about, he doesn't have to shut down the EPA, for example, the Environmental Protection Agency. He just has to basically give them nothing to do.
He can just gut them. He can
just not utilize them, not direct them to do anything.
Right. They'd still do stuff.
They would still do some stuff, but he
can also direct them to do. He can direct
their agenda, and he can, there are tricky ways that a clever president could really undermine a lot of government agencies.
Here's the thing: we don't have. He won't be a clever president. But he
might have clever people around him.
What he will be is a despot. He will be, because he doesn't actually. He's the kind of human being that doesn't notice or care what anybody else thinks.
Yeah,
like none of that matters to him. So, in business, he just sort of went through and did whatever he wanted to. Yeah. And if he didn't want to pay one of his subcontractors that he had that he had an agreement with, he just didn't.
Yeah.
And he had the legal machine to back him up, so that nobody could do anything about it, or it was onerous to do something about it.
Right.
I feel like what we need to do as a country is distract this man
with tweets.
I feel like we need to tweet at him. This is the jingly keys approach to preventing bad things from happening. We just need to look over there. No, quick, look over there. No, quick. Hey, Mr. Trump, there's boobies. Look right over there.
There's a pussy to grab over there.
Right. And she'll let you. Just anything. Just distract him. Tell him how handsome he is, and ask him to come to some really stupid event or whatever. We just need to distract him.
Yeah.
And make sure, get some lawsuits going, whatever we need to do. Frivolous things. He's a man who loves frivolous.
Well, that might work once he's in office, Dan.
Yeah.
But already the situation on the ground ain't great.
Well, here's the problem. I'm not worried about Donald Trump. I'm worried about the Pandora's box that he has opened in America.
Well, a Pandora's box is a box that can't be closed again. Do you really? Tell us what what has happened.
So what we're looking at, if you're not up on this, all across the country, including here in Utah and everywhere,
right?
And Utah, I usually take as an interesting barometer because Utah tends to be mild.
Yeah,
Utah has racism, has sexism, has homophobia, but tends to be mild about it.
Yeah.
So when pictures turn up of a car that's been spray painted that, has misspelled faggot, but is still on there in Utah.
See, Dan, everybody's just assuming that this person is upset at faggots. Right. It's a phage tea.
It's fagé.
They're upset at fagé. I don't know what a fagé is.
Right.
But they're very upset.
It's the car. They're like, oh, I hate this fagé, which is French for maroon car.
I don't know if that's true, Dan.
It's not true. All over the country, hate crimes are happening.
Yeah.
Swastikas are being put up. And it's what's funny is if, in times past when I've seen this kind of shit happen, when I've seen, somebody write, go home nigger or something like that onto something, you can't, if you think what has incited the person to this, you have to draw that line.
Right.
You have to say, I think that they're doing this because of X. Because X happened, or it's a response to blank. But they're not drawing that line for you. They're not making sure that you know. In this case, the word Trump is almost always there. Like, these people are drawing a direct line. What they are saying, and they are saying it explicitly. I don't have to put words in their mouths. They are saying explicitly, Trump was elected. It's our world again, meaning straight, white, male,
Christian,
cisgender, Christian. Yeah. It's our world now. You have to do what we say.
When wasn't it their world?
Right.
That's what I want to know.
Exactly. But, but they are emboldened. They are, there are reports all over the country of, like, schools having horrible things happen, spray painting, swastikas all over the place are popping up. People, there was a picture of two drinking fountains with the words, somebody had taped up the words white and colored over that.
Christ.
At a university here in Utah, there was a note that was posted somewhere that basically, what's the worst thing you've ever read?
Isn't it something about bathrooms, and was that the one that was talking about transgender stuff?
I talked about all of the things.
Okay. I remember one of them that I saw, and I thought it was the one down at UVU.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like something about not having to have 20 different bathrooms or something.
I've got
like
it
that.
here.
I can't remember.
Here's the note that went up at UVU. Trump won. Now all you liberal pussies better shut the fuck up with your Muslim rights, gay rights, illegal immigrant rights, and all that other bullshit. America's economy will now finally be booming again, and the world will tremble at the thought of facing America's military. If you liberal assholes don't like it, do America a huge favor and get the fuck out and go join some socialist paradise that you bastards idolize so goddamn much.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
This is what has been unleashed. This is what has been. These people are emboldened. They feel, and this is like a friend of mine teaches a college class at a quite liberal school, and he said that one of his students' mothers, who is Iraqi, attempted suicide.
Oh my God!
One of his students said that she was just driving her car. This is a white woman. Was just driving her car, and her window was down, and a man pulled up next to her in his car and said, "Why are you outside? Why are you out of the kitchen, woman?" And she said, "Excuse me, what did you say?" And he said, "It's Trump got elected. Men are in charge now again. You don't even have the right to talk to me." This is where we're at. No,
that doesn't even make any sense.
This is a minority of people.
Yeah. And that's that.
And
that's a key thing to remember here.
And it is a minority of even Trump voters.
Right. And I was just about to get to that a lot of people voted, a lot of racists, probably the vast majority of racists in this country, voted for Donald Trump. That does not mean that everyone who voted for Donald Trump is a racist.
Right.
And I do think that that's something that I think that there might be, or for that matter, homophobic or wanting to see the rights and whatnot that have been gained in the last however many years go away.
Right.
But I think that you could potentially say that these people valued, I don't know what they valued over. As somebody who just values people's individual rights and civil liberties so much, I find it really hard actually at this point in my life to project myself into the minds of somebody who would put other things above that, right? And I don't know what they thought they were getting from a Trump presidency.
Well, I mean, clearly they thought that they were getting the right to oppress the right to
No, I'm not talking about the people who voted for Trump. People who voted for Trump, I guess, for economic reasons.
Right.
Right. That they honestly thought that, or people who just hated Hillary Clinton so much.
Right. Well, and there are people,
and I know there were those.
There are people who believe that we need to not have establishment politicians in there, and there are people who felt passionately about immigration and thought that he would do a better job, which he clearly wouldn't.
Right. He just wants to build a fucking wall.
So there's a whole bunch of other reasons why people might vote for him. However, the assholes of this country the white cis males of this country who have been sitting around seeing their privilege sapped away from them, feeling disenfranchised. Look, the loss of privilege feels like oppression. That's just a part of how it is. And so, those of us who, I am cis, white, straight, and male.
You're everything that's wrong with America.
Well, I think we better not go to there. I think we better go to I was born unfairly privileged.
Right.
Just by accident of my birth.
Right.
I am privileged beyond the majority of the country.
Yeah.
Women are less privileged than I am. Gay men are less privileged than I am.
Yeah.
So all women, but gay, and then of course gay women have double blow against them. Forget it if you're if you're a person of color and gay and a woman, then you got the all of the things. If you're a trans person of color, if you're a trans, any of these things and any combination of these things, and you have less privilege than I have. I was born with all of this privilege. Now here's the thing. I, as a compassionate person who feels secure, I can look at my privilege and say, you know what? I want to share it.
Right.
I don't want the privilege. I want equality, egalitarian. I want a society where everyone has the same shot.
Right.
That's what I want. But if you feel insecure,
right.
If you feel disenfranchised,
you just lost your job at the shop.
If you feel, if you're like scared as a human being about your life, you're going to be looking for ways to lash out, and you're going to be looking for reasons why the world is against you. And it's going to feel shitty to see a position of privilege that you had start to erode away. The things that you did have, the things that you could have counted on are gone. And, you've got old guys, you've got old white men sitting on their porches pissing and moaning about how, in my day, you couldn't lose a job to a Negro. That couldn't happen.
And you'd be lucky if that's the phrasing they use.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I used the least offensive wording. These so I think that it's a scary time to me. I am worried. I am worried, at least for the foreseeable future. I am worried that these people are so emboldened, and I think that there's actual safety concerns out there. I think there have been attacks,
rocks being thrown at people.
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly. A woman apparently was seen. A white woman was seen throwing gasoline on a woman in a hijab.
It's just.
I don't know. Real scary shit.
I don't
happened.
know where they get the fuck. Where do they get off?
Right.
Like how in God's name do you? In what part of your stupid little mind do you think that that's an acceptable thing to do?
Right. Right. As a Christian person, especially, like,
you would assume that this person's probably Christian.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. We have to assume that because that's just part of the thing.
Right.
Because who's being riled up? Whose fears are being most played on in this country? And it's the Christians, and it's being done by their leaders.
Right.
So
that's why they showed up to vote.
So here's one thing that I want to get out there. I have two calls for action to start with for our listeners.
Okay.
The first is we need to fucking protect each other.
Yeah.
We need to protect our marginalized people.
Yeah.
And I wrote a big Facebook thing about it. But the point to me is my commitment as a person of privilege is to never let racism, sexism, homophobia, whatever, stand in my presence. Yeah. I will call it out. I will decide how best to do it, based on the situation.
Right.
But it will not be allowed to just stand in my presence.
Well, yeah. And I as someone who has most of the privileges.
Right. Yeah.
I've got most of them.
Yeah.
I mean, there is also anyway. But as someone who has, I think that's a good action, you know, because we and I'll stand up for myself, when that happens, if necessary.
Right.
I mean, there's been crazy thoughts going through my head, of like, what if, they actually succeed in rolling back gay rights and rolling back the sense of security and the sense of place that I feel in this country.
Yeah.
Like, if that happens, I don't like what does one do? What does, and I've thought about the whole, like, people get out in the streets and they march for rights that they are being denied, that they, that should be given to them.
That they want.
And that they want. And sometimes people get, a little overly zealous, and maybe there's a little side riot somewhere. Boy, howdy, if they try to roll back some rights, it'll be the
pandemonium,
fucking ugliest thing you've ever seen. Executed fantastically, I promise you, with class and style. However, it will be pandemonium in the streets.
Well, and
and people like myself, I don't know how I would hold myself back.
No.
Especially if
I'm not going to hold myself back.
Like,
let me tell you something. As a person with all those privileges, my commitment is.
You do have one strike against you, though, Dan.
The atheist?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're not Christian.
It's an easy strike to. I could pretend. I can pass.
I can pass.
Right.
Jesus Christ.
But what he says in the gayest way he's ever said anything. Anyway, but what I was going to say is that my other commitment is that I'm going to be there alongside any marginalized group. If they try to roll back rights, if they try to take away rights of anybody,
you'll be throwing rocks.
I'll be marching. I'll be there. I'll be
Molotov cocktails.
No, I don't. That's not what I'll be doing.
I think you misunderstood what I was saying.
Well, okay, but I'll tell you this. I
don't think I would go that far, but I would definitely be marching and at the protests.
But I'll say, but one of the things that I will say is that, look, I'm safer because of my privilege. When I walk down the street, I'm safer than women, than a person of color, than a gay person. Like, it's less likely. I'm less likely to be attacked than any of these people.
Yeah.
But you know what? If I see an attack coming, my body's on the line. I'm going in.
Okay.
I'm not going to stand idly by. I'm not going to.
Right.
So that's part of my commitment. I am there with you. And yeah, you're going to have to go through me too.
Yeah. Isn't it just having this conversation it's an absurdity that I never thought I would see in my life.
And I wrote this on my Facebook post, like, it feels completely melodramatic.
It does.
And I want to laugh at myself for being so dramatic, but this world has gotten a little more dramatic than I thought it was going to get. Like, I didn't know shit was going to get as dramatic as it got. And I'm not going to let my embarrassment at feeling a little over drama.
Yeah.
I'm not going to let that stop me from saying the things that I got to say, from like making the commitments that I have to make.
I know. I eschew drama.
Yes.
It has no place in my life.
I don't want it either.
Like, I've carved out a life, and I've surrounded myself with people who are fairly drama free.
Right.
Right. And boy, it's out there. It's easy to have it in your life,
And your community, the gay community, often embraces it.
It does mean that I have few friends.
The actor community also often embraces it.
I know.
So you and I are both members of communities that want to inflict drama.
I know.
But I don't want it. I don't like drama. But let me tell you something. When the world gets dramatic, I'll meet you there.
Right. And I'm going to tell a story that I did some racial profiling, I suppose.
Oh.
Or religious profiling. There was a very Muslim-looking family at the supermarket the other night. And I guess 2 nights ago. So just a couple days after the election. And, I mean, I say that, and how do I know? Well, I mean, there's a certain amount of garb that usually the woman in the family is wearing, the mother, right?
Sure.
And, covered down to wrists and, a long dress or some sort of robe type thing more than a dress. And she had a little bit excess material around her neck. And I looked at them and I realized that she probably had taken her hijab off at some point. Down.
Wow.
And I was really disturbed by the whole thing. And I was just like, fuck, like this is not the America I want to live in. This is we're like, okay, I don't love religion and I don't agree with these people probably on 90% of issues and
of their cosmology and their
just understanding of the universe and the world and politically and humanity and socially and all of it. And I'm just like, I don't fucking want these people to feel unwelcome in my country.
Right. Absolutely
and
not.
I shot them a little smile and I just hate it so much.
Yeah, exactly. It's not okay for this country, of all countries. Our country is supposed to be the one that welcomes everybody. That is the melting pot. Mm-hmm. That is the place where all of the good ideas come. All of the ideas come here.
Right.
All of the people come here, and we welcome you, and we hear you, and we let the good things bubble up,
and we let people in so that they can build a better life, so that they can escape the shit that was happening in their country.
Yeah.
That's what we do.
Yeah.
And this anti-immigration bullshit nonsense. Really? You're going to deport 6% of our workforce.
Yeah.
That's what you want to do by sending how is it send the Mexicans back to Mexico? And because that's really what it seems to be.
Yeah.
And it's like, just so you know, not all immigrants in this country who are here with, not documented are Mexican.
Right. Right.
Your giant wall isn't going to solve the problem.
Well, and
the quote unquote problem.
Most of our undocumented workers come on airplanes. Which strangely, as John John Oliver pointed out, can make it over walls.
Oh yeah,
those airplanes
strangely
can. Yeah. So, but the larger issue is disenfranchisement of people, and I think that this is supposed to be the country where people are enfranchised, where people are made to feel part of.
Yeah.
And I'm going to extend that idea because there's one of the groups of people who are not made to feel part of, and I think this is where this hatred comes from, are these bigots. Yeah. They are not feeling like they're part of the whole. They're feeling like there's finger pointing. And this is part of why I like, it's fine. You can make jokes at my expense about being a straight white male, and I'll be fine. But some of these guys hear that and think, well, fuck, the whole country's against me. Well, fuck them. And they get defensive and they get angry and whatever. So
now they won and now they're important.
So here's what so my first thought was we need to protect our marginalized people. My second thought is we need to find ways to reach out to people who think differently than we do, to people who believe differently than we do, and we need to find ways to touch their humanity and to show them our humanity.
Yeah.
Because they somehow have a disconnect with their humanity. And people do change. and we can be part of encouraging change. But I don't think that change comes from yelling at them. And I don't think, I mean, if they're going to be violent, we have to stop them. We just have to stop them in whatever way we're going to stop them. Mm-hmm. But if we can catch them before that point, I think that embracing them and franchising them, finding ways of addressing their fears, because it's all fear based. Mm-hmm. This is all fear. I think that's what this country needs, is a lot of reaching out to everybody.
Yeah.
And I there are cleverer people than me that can give you ways of doing that. But getting involved in things, doing a bit of activism is always going to be a good way to channel the energy that we all have right now.
There's so many ways to get involved. I mean, the things that immediately jump to my mind are, you could just get out there and volunteer for a cause that you believe in. Whether it could be a soup kitchen. At this point, it's just a matter of getting out and feeling proactive and doing some.
Pick an issue that means something to you.
Yeah,
and get out there and volunteer and be part of it.
Yeah. But that can go all the way up to volunteering for a political campaign.
Absolutely.
But it doesn't have to be that much. It doesn't have to be you found the perfect candidate. It's about finding a place to put your energy and to put your frustrations, and
that will help you feel productive.
To work toward that thing that we thought we were getting a lot closer to, but we've just faced a huge setback.
Right. But it's about realizing that setback doesn't mean failure. It just means
not necessarily.
It means it means more work needs to be done.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of the negative energy and feeling that people have right now should be channeled, and that should be channeled into work, because it's going to make you feel better.
Yeah.
If you're being part of a cause that means something to you. I also think that we can I don't want to say think positively.
What we really need to do is we need to envision the country that we want to live in.
Yeah.
And then we need to focus our positive thinking. We need to manifest.
It sounds like you're being facetious, but you're saying the right things. I don't know where you're going.
It's the secret.
Yeah, but it's true. You do need to envision what you want to have happen, and then you need to work toward it. That's not a secret. Everybody just knows that.
And then you have to just
tell the universe.
That's what you want.
Right.
That's what you want.
That's where you were going. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Don't tell the universe. Just do some shit.
I like to do like a vision board. I get all my magazines out, and I go through and I cut out pictures from like ads that I like, and and it's just this beautiful. I go to the supermarket and I get one of those big was poster board, right?
Right.
Some Elmer's glue, and I glue it all on, and then every morning when I get up, I spend a little moment and I envision my life.
Ladies and gentlemen, he is still going
with all of those wonderful images. That house that I want, the car.
Stop it.
The wristwatch.
Just stop it. Just stop it. Here's what I'm going to say. Here's what I want there. Part of the takeaway of this whole conversation to be, because we're supposed to have a takeaway here. We've had a few little takeaway things. I think if you are despairing out there, because I know that we have some listeners who are despairing, especially if they are women or people of color or whatever, or trans people. There are people despairing. I want you to remember, everybody, that there are very bullheaded people who have already changed their mind on these issues. There are people who hated the gays and then changed their mind. Majority of the people in this country believe in gay marriage, believe that that gay people should have the right, and it's like 60%. It's not like It's not like 51.5%.
And that's not where we started. I don't know if you remember
just a few years
30,
back,
40 years ago, what it was like.
nobody even considered gay marriage.
I mean, to be honest, even 10 years ago, it seemed like something that would be 30, 40 years off.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, like, it just started happening.
You know,
change happened quickly.
Martin Luther King Jr. said something along the lines of, I'm going to mess this up. I'm not going to get this exactly right, but he said that the arc of something, of the universe of something, is long, but it bends toward justice.
The arc of history.
History, something like
so,
that.
Yeah.
I think that arc just got a little bit longer with this election.
There's a little kink in the arc right now.
The length got longer, but
it's still bending.
The bend is the same, and I think we have to remember that, and we have to focus on the fact that bigots can become allies, and that people that love is what we're shooting for, and the way to counter hatred is to continue to love.
Oh, that's nicely stated.
So let's just leave it at that.
Yeah, that's good stuff, Dan.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you have good ideas that you think we've missed and you'd like us to talk about it, we're happy to do so. Please write into us, podcast@thankgodimatheist.com.
Or you can leave us a voicemail message. The telephone number is 424-666-8442.
Yes, go to the Facebook page, facebook.com/TGIAtheist.
And while you're on Facebook, search for the TGIA Members Only Lounge.
That's
a closed group.
It's a community. And if
closed community.
If one thing you need right now is community, go there.
Yep.
The TGIA Members Only Lounge is a community. It is a place where you can vent, where you can sort of blow off some of this steam, you know, and it's safe.
Yep.
And we work hard to make it safe. Don't go in there and make it unsafe.
You just have to request to join, and then we'll let you in.
Yep. So, hey, thank you to Mackenzie for doing our amazing Facebook page.
And thanks to the Red Rock Hot Club for the use of their music.
Thanks to our donors, especially, for everything that they do for us. And if you want to become a donor, if part of your activism, if part of what you think to do is to support us, that's fine. Go to thankgodimatheist.com and click on the Patreon page button there and help us out.
Yep. And thank you, of course, to all of our listeners for listening.
Yeah, we really do appreciate it.
Bye.